Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about Banshee, one of the most underrated TV shows I have ever watched. And I gotta say, it's criminally underrated. And yes, for people who have watched the TV show, that is very much pun intended. So I discovered this show recently enough. I heard of it, but I didn't really know much about the plot details. And I was going through a phase in which I was getting tired of just seeing the kind of whiny kind of lead character, the whiny kind of lead male character, Barry Allen. And I kind of wanted to see a lead character who's kind of an anti-hero. He has the elements of a good guy, but he does things his own way, but he's also got the elements of a bad guy. Thankfully, I discovered Banshee, and I discovered that there was 3 seasons before the recent season, and I binge watched all 30 episodes of the first 3 seasons, and I was blown away by such a great original show. And it's currently in its 4th season, which is actually its last season. Its last episode will be aired on the 20th of May, so it's kind of tragic knowing that I discovered this show and it's ending, which is a real shame because I could imagine a 5th and 6th season, but I think because this season has a bit of a budget cut, it did suggest that it was its final season. Anyway, so I'm going to just talk about the tone of the show, the basic synopsis, and I'm going to just talk about some of the main characters and just give you a reason why you should just check out this show. Okay, so in terms of tone, it's very gritty, almost has kind of a Western feel to it, which is great. I mean, because the Western genre has really died down in recent years. And I gotta say, the show is way more grittier than The Walking Dead. And I mean, I wouldn't compare them in terms of plot-wise, because, of course, The Walking Dead is more of a survival drama, and Banshee it's its own beast, really. But I will say this, it makes The Walking Dead look like an episode of Sesame Street in terms of how gritty it is. The shock factor of the show matches Game of Thrones, as in it really goes there, it really takes risks, and it's really not afraid to kill off characters. It's really shocking that way, and characters do die in horrific ways, and you're like, whoa, I did not see that coming. So just when you get to know a character and love a character, they could die. So it's a really brave show in that direction. And I will say this, it's as violent as Hannibal, the TV show with Mads Mikkelsen. It's that violent and that gripping and that kind of edgy. In terms of fight scenes and action sequences, I'd say it's on par with Daredevil. I was surprised. I didn't expect it to be so action-packed. I thought it'd be more focused on a drama piece, but there is so many great fight scenes in the show, so many great shootouts, and they're all really stylishly done. And the wonderful thing about this is, this show, choreograph in the fights they're more toned down, they're more down to earth, as in they're more raw, gritty, as in there's more self-defense techniques to it. It's not as flashy as you'd see in Arrow or Flash or TV shows like even Daredevil. It's more grounded and it's more brutal in a sense when you see the techniques. The wonderful thing about the show is that they actually have a fitness camp. So all the actors are physically in great shape and are able to pull off so many of the fight scenes, so many of the shootouts. And that's great because from a viewer's point of view, you can really tell that the actors are doing so much of the action, and that's wonderful. I think all the stunt doubles are hidden really well as well. So it's not painfully obvious like in certain shows where, in terms of a female character's case, there's a wig covering their face and you can tell that it's obvious a stunt double doing the part. But in this case, it's very much the actors are doing all their own physical acting. So moving on from that, I want to just talk about the basic synopsis of the show. So the main character is a criminal who has been released from prison after doing a 15-year sentence, and he's seeking out his partner in crime / love interest, and she's currently living in a small town called Banshee. So he seeks her out and he discovers that she's married and she has kids. There's a small bar outside of the town, and there is this moment in which he becomes the new sheriff. He takes on the identity of the new sheriff. New sheriff Lucas Hood, and this new sheriff is brought into town by the mayor because he's trying to bring down Kai Proctor, and Kai Proctor is the lead antagonist of the series in general. He's a really corrupt businessman. He has his hands into everything in Banshee, and so you follow this criminal who takes on the identity of Lucas Hood, and we see how he delivers the justice in Banshee. And it's wonderful because he's not by the books, and you also see little flashes of his flashback, and you even see moments of almost his criminal life as well. So it's a great mix of a show, and it's something you'll definitely have never seen before. So moving on from that, I want to just talk about the lead characters. I'm going to just talk about the lead characters in season 1 because these are the characters that you're going to get to know. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, Lucas Hood is the main character of the show, and he's very much the anti-hero, and he's got this mysterious past about him. He's also a witty character, a bit of a womanizer, and it's all great because he's very much a manly character, and it's just great to see a character that's just that kind of old school kind of hero. Kerry Hopewell, who is she's kind of the perfect wife type character, but she has a mysterious past, and she has a link with Lucas Hood's character. And of course, she has moments where she's an absolute badass, where she kicks a lot of ass, where we see she herself gets a lot of action. Job, another great character. He's a computer hacker who's just known for his flamboyant attitude and his flamboyant fashion sense. It's incredible that they've created a character who can be such a badass whilst wearing a dress, which is just incredible. Actually, he's also got a great sense of humor, and his chemistry with Sugar, a character who I will also mention, is just some of the best moments in the show. Sugar, who I've mentioned, he's a ex-criminal / ex-boxer, and he runs this small bar, and he kind of first interacts with Lucas Hood, and they have this fantastical bond between each other. He's kind of an older character, and he's kind of has this sense of humor, as in that he's so out of sync with technology, and it's just great in that sense, that because Job is such a computer tech, and it's just wonderful the back and forth between them two. Brock, who is the deputy, one of the deputies who serves under Lucas Hood, and of course he's very much by the books, very righteous, and he has this sense of sarcasm to him as well. Like, he's very much the righteous type character, and he plays off Lucas Hood really well, and they have this interesting relationship that has developed a lot actually. And even in the latest season, if you do decide to follow the show, you'll definitely see an interesting dynamic between the two characters. Deputy Siobhan, who serves under Sheriff Hood, and she herself is very much once again a righteous type character, very much by the books, but she'll bend the books a little bit. She'll go if a certain criminal gets away too softly. She's very hardened character. She's very almost similar to Lucas in ways as well, as in she's got that kind of hardened exterior, but she has that little witty sense of humor as well. Those are kind of the lead characters you'll get to know and love in Banshee from season 1 onwards, and every single character in this show has a moment of pure badassery, where individual little scenes where you're just like, holy shit, this guy's a badass. And it's wonderful in that sense, because just when you think Lucas Hood is going to be this main badass, the whole show just lets every character have their moment under the spotlight, which is absolutely great. And I'm going to just talk about one of the best things about this show, and I will say this, that Kai Proctor is without a doubt one of the most underrated TV villains I've ever seen. I mean, the one thing about Daredevil I noticed is that Kingpin was a fantastic villain and gets so much praises, but I gotta say Kai Proctor is miles ahead of him in terms of being intimidating and a real villainous figure. I think I cannot highly recommend this show anymore. So what I'm gonna say is, if you haven't watched this show, and if I have convinced you, that's great. Give the show a chance. The first episode alone should hook you in. I think the premise alone should hook you in. The acting's all great. The action is really well shot, really well choreographed. The story flows really well. The pacing is near perfect. Every episode doesn't feel like a filler. They all feel like jam packed, but they never feel bloated. It's just really, really, really good writing. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. I hope this has convinced you guys to watch the show. And thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. And if you want to share this video, that would also be fantastic. I'd really appreciate that.